Oh my God. Conor Murphy. Okay. Let's do this. So I have been receiving a lot of requests for me to do a follow-up video on what's been happening with Conor Murphy. And I've resisted doing so for a number of reasons. But you know, the state of affairs on planet Conor has just escalated recently in a very bizarre direction. And so for whatever possible influence I might have, I feel obliged to try and get this message out there. We need to stop giving Conor Murphy attention. I mean, it is driving the guy insane, and every view you give his videos, every comment you're leaving telling him he's gone nuts, every time you like or dislike one of his posts, then you are just pouring gasoline onto what has become the most incredible dumpster fire. Now, don't get me wrong, I am completely aware of the ridiculousness of me saying all this while making a video about Conor Murphy. But you know, this is the platform that I have, and I feel the message is important and I've got to get it out there somehow. Because I'm watching people feed this desperate manifestation which is simultaneously craving attention, but is utterly inept at being able to handle it. And it's just an absolute train wreck to watch. Now, if you're unaware of who Conor Murphy is, then good for you. Stop watching this video, go on with your life. You are one of the lucky ones. Otherwise, if you really want to know, then go and watch my previous video on him and that will bring you up to speed. And in regards as to what he has been up to since I made that last video, yeah, well, let's just say that if I wanted to make the guy look like a lunatic, then the material just writes itself. Conor has become notorious for making delusional, grandiose claims, drinking semen, drinking urine, eating his own feces, declaring himself to be an alien, the biblical God. I mean, you just name it, he's done it. And at this point, it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet of new age bullshit at the Murphy residence. And although there are like a few more exotic dishes on the menu, it's basically the same old slop which has zero nutritional content. Now, if I was making one of my usual videos, then this is where I'd present various clips and screenshots to kind of back up what I'm saying. But honestly, the levels of insanity at the moment are just so high, I'm not even sure how to present it in a way which truly captures its scope. And I just don't want to dedicate any more of my mental faculties to watching this guy have a breakdown. And I would also spur you from doing the same. But needless to say, it isn't pretty. An analogy that springs to mind here is from one of my favourite movies, the legendary anime masterpiece Akira, in which one of the main characters completely loses control of their ability to hold themselves together as a human being, like as a physical human being. And so this manifests by them powerlessly devolving into this disgusting ball of flesh that destroys everything and consumes all the things around it. Yeah, that's a pretty good analogy for the mental state of Conor Murphy. And in regard to where that mental state is, then nothing has really changed since my last video. So what more can I say without just jumping on the dog pile of people saying, what the fuck, Conor has lost his mind? Yeah, we knew that already. That's what I said 6 months ago, and realistically it's the same story today. As I stated back then, I believe Conor is going through a manic episode, no doubt triggered by the ayahuasca he took last year, but I don't think ayahuasca is the root cause here. The root cause, in my humble opinion, is that Conor Murphy, while having the appearance and vocabulary of an adult, is emotionally, psychologically and spiritually a child. And I don't mean this in a derogatory way like I'm looking down my nose at him, I mean it literally. The guy is like a lost child, to the point where to simply call him immature would be a colossal understatement. You know, I'm speaking from experience here because I have 2 kids, one of them a teenager and the other one not far off. So I've seen and continue to see my fair share of attention seeking, tantrums, clowning around, emotional highs and lows, turbulent feelings where they don't know how to handle it, and the lack of self-awareness to know when they're lost in one of these states. And that's exactly what I see when I look at Conor. He is a child. And when a child is having an episode, then the best thing you can do to get them back to baseline is to remove from them all the sources of stimulation. Let their energy levels normalise so that they can chill out. Now, of course, there are a couple of major differences here. One is that Connor might not actually be capable of chilling himself out. The sad reality is that some people just have mental issues which they cannot resolve on their own, and perhaps they never will. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case with Connor. People are pointing at his post-ayahuasca meltdowns like he was completely psychologically healthy before, but he clearly wasn't. The guy has been desperately seeking attention, validation, identity, adoration for at least as long as he's been on YouTube. It's not new. This is not a new behaviour. And I think what we're actually seeing here is the real Connor Murphy. And the real Connor Murphy is a confused and needy child. The second major difference is that this child has found the keys to the medicine cupboard and is treating the contents like a new toy. And this causes a problem because the meta-narrative that is forming around Connor is psychedelics will make you crazy. I mean, you can almost hear like the presenters on Fox News. YouTube star drives himself crazy on mind-altering drugs. Look, here is the proof. And clearly that runs the risk of fucking things up for the rest of us. My take on this is that there is no doubt that psychedelics can psychologically pull the rug out from underneath you. In fact, I would say for something like ayahuasca, then that rug pull is the intended effect. People use ayahuasca because they have some deeply entrenched trauma which just cannot be dealt with via conventional means. And so one way of tackling that is just to blow open the dam and let the dark waters come flooding out. And I cannot say this enough times. Ayahuasca is not recreational. It's not fun. And in my humble opinion, it's not just another psychedelic. And I think this is something where the psychedelic community needs to get its head out of its arse. Because people look at these substances like it's an ice cream parlour where you should try all the different flavours. And I just don't think that's necessarily true. With something like ayahuasca, you can still be feeling the effects months later. Not necessarily like the visionary, trippy effects, but the emotional and the sort of psychological maelstrom. It doesn't just disappear when the drug wears off. It can stay with you for a long fucking time. Okay, so where does this leave us in terms of Connor Murphy's recent behaviour and my thoughts on it? And it's this. Guys, if you genuinely give a shit and want to be part of the solution, then please stop watching Connor Murphy. Take the temptation away from yourself by unsubscribing from his channels, stop clicking on his videos, and don't leave any kind of comments on any of his social media feeds. Don't write a message saying, hey man, you've lost your shit. Just don't even press the dislike button. Just walk away from all of it. And I know just as much as anyone how juicy and addictive it is to watch this kind of train wreck unfold, but be the better person. Rise above it and just cut this particular stream of nonsense from your life. Be better than me. Be better than all the other people who got sucked into this lake of psychic sewage and just walk away from it. That's what I'm going to do. And honestly, I think it's the best thing that we can do for Connor. Now, I realise that what I've said sounds very cold, and also that what I've said makes it sound like I'm trying to get Connor cancelled. And that's genuinely not the case. But at the moment, what we're doing, it feels like the equivalent of giving an alcoholic a bottle of booze and then like entertaining ourselves by getting outraged when they just go and piss all over the floor. Connor craves attention and it's driving him nuts. And I'm not going to give it to him because then when he does something stupid that either causes harm to himself or to someone else or to the reputation of psychedelics, then I'm going to be a party to that. So I am drawing the line here. And I'm going to ask you guys to join me in that. Just ignore the guy. And yes, the irony of me saying that by making a video about ignoring Connor Murphy is not lost on me. But yeah, what do you do? Anyway, I think that is all I've got to say about that subject, and hopefully I've made my position clear. And if anyone wants to ask me anything about my personal experiences with ayahuasca, then leave a comment below or check out this video, which I'll link to up there somewhere. It's of a trip report which talks about one of my most profound and moving experiences with the substance. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and now I'm afraid I'm going to have to turn my back on Connor Murphy.